Something that is so interesting about that song, at least the chorus of that song, is how simple the music, well, the chords themselves actually are. It's such a profound song in so many ways, but everyone can actually make their own music out of it by playing a simple chord progression that I'm going to show you today. And then after that, for those of you who want to get a little fancier, I'm going to teach you the right hand melody as well. So let's start by looking at the left hand chords. The chorus, it's times like these, starts on a C major chord. And if you've watched any of my other videos, you should be very familiar with that chord. It's made up of a C, an E, and a G. And if you notice, those notes are evenly spaced. So it's easy to find, actually with both hands, if you can find your C to the left of the two black keys, skip a note, play your E with your middle finger, skip a key, and play the G with the top finger. So that first chord leads easily into the second chord, which is an E minor chord. If you noticed what I did there, from where we were on this shape chord, the middle note becomes the bottom note. So you can easily place one or both hands just by watching this key. The third chord is a D major chord, and it lives right in between those other chords. And the only difference with this one is that rather than all three being white keys, your middle note is going to be a black key. So when you play from C up to E minor and back down to D, you just need to watch your third finger and make sure you're getting it far enough into the key that it hops up to this black key here. So you can practice that one hand at a time. And once you're comfortable with that movement, you can add your right hand in on the exact same chords. And what this particular pattern is good for is if you want to sing along. So your voice would be providing the melody, and your hands would be providing the harmony. It's times like these we learn to live again. It's times like these we give and give again. So that is a very, very simple way for anyone to go dig up their keyboard from the basement or get it down from the attic and play that song and sing along with yourself. For those of you who'd like to take it a step further, and actually be able to play the melody line, the part that you sing, let's take a look at that next. Your right hand is essentially going to be in two hand positions. The first is with your thumb on a G. So if you think about where middle C is, and if each finger is lined up next to each other on a key, you can take the position of your pinky and move your thumb there. If you'd rather count, if you're a counting person, start on middle C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 keys up is G, where you want to be there. And of course, all of your fingers are lined up next to each other, so it's easy to keep track of them. The melody of the chorus is fairly simple. We're going to start on your middle finger. And then you're going to go up to a C. And you're going to play that several times along with the words. It's times like these. And then you're going to go back down to a B for we learn to live. And then you're going to finish that phrase on your second finger on A twice again. It's times like these we learn to live again. So again, such a profound a song and such a fairly simple melody to learn. To help you hear what that sounds like in context, let's put that together with your left hand. What's interesting is rather than counting like we usually do, for this particular song, it's easier to just think of what lyric comes with which chord. So for example, I'll play the first part of the chorus, and I want to see if you can notice what happens when. It's times like these we learn to live again. So if you notice, the melody starts before the chords and comes in on a fairly regular pattern change, but not totally at the same time as the melody starts. So that was a little confusing. Let me show you what I mean. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So if you're a counting person like I am, that could also help you to put the hands together, because what you might have noticed is that the chord is always coming in on beat 1, even though the melody is starting before that. So for example, if we counted through, starting on 1, the first note would come in on 4. I'll show you what I mean. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, So that's kind of the underlying structure, underlying foundation of that rhythm. But as you know, when you listen to the song, it's not exactly that metronomic. It's not that straight. It's got a little bit of a rock feel to it. So if you understand the counting, but you also then think about the lyrics, it's going to sound a little cooler when you play. Right? So there's like a kind of like feel to it. And once you learn the notes and you figure out how they go together, since you know the song, I think that's going to help you jazz it up a little bit and give it that feel that you hear when you listen to the song. So those are the underlying principles. And now I'm going to show you the next part of the melody. What's nice about this is, again, the left-hand chords don't change at all. They're going from C to E minor to D major and back. And the melody changes slightly, but not terribly much. So watch what happens in the second part. It's times like these we give and give again. So when you play the note give, you're actually going to go up instead of down like you did in the first place. It's times like these we give up to D and give back to B again. Let me do the whole thing from the beginning to help you hear that all in context. It's times like these we learn to live again. It's times like these we give and give again. Now remember, that's kind of the lame, boring way to play it from a rhythmic standpoint, but I find that once you can get the coordination going between your hands of which note comes with which chord, it's easier to then make it sound good. So let's try it now, making it sound good. So you can kind of put your own spin on it depending on how you hear it and how you sing it in your mind. One other thing you might want to do if you're feeling fancy is at the end of the second part, there's a little walk down in the melody, and I'll show you how to do that. So I'll play it first, and then I'll show you how to make it happen. All right, so this is, it's times like these we give and give again. So what I'm doing is after I play the last note, which is an A, I'm playing my thumb on G and bringing my second finger over to the F sharp. So hand position wise, you're not moving that much. You're really just playing 2, 1, and crossing at the end. So in context, that part would sound like this. that just makes you sound nice and sophisticated. And then the third phrase, "It's times like these we learn to love again," is exactly the same as the first phrase where you learned to live again. So we're going to start again on B. It's times like these we learn to love again. Again, you've already learned that part, so it's just really a repeat of what you were doing. Now the next part, the last part where he sings, "It's times like these, time and time again," is a slightly different hand position. So what you're going to do is take your right hand, and rather than your thumb being on G, you're going to move your hand to the left. So your thumb is now on E. And one other adjustment you're going to make is that your second finger is going to rest on the black key on the F sharp. And the melody starts on that F sharp. It's times like these, time and time again. So again, it's a fairly simple melody, right? Only 3 notes, but still just magic. That Dave Grohl. And how that fits together with the chords is a similar pattern as you saw before. The right hand starts with the F sharp on is, and then the chord comes in on times like these. And on the next times, you'll play your E minor chord, time and time again. So it's slightly fewer syllables in that last part, which makes it even more, how can we say, it kind of wraps up the whole phrase, essentially. There's a little bit of slowing down of the movement, which really is just genius. So let's do that last part again. It's times like these, time and time again. So I can write all of the letter names of the melody notes in below the screen here, so you can follow along if that helps. But remember, there are only 2 hand positions, where your thumb is on G and where your thumb is on E. And there are only 3 chords. So depending on how hard you want to practice and work at this, you could do the chord version only and supply the melody with your voice, meaning sing along, right? Or if you want to get fancier, you can add the melody with your right hand. So I want you to enjoy being able to make this music for yourself. I think one of the best things that is coming out of this time is all of the creativity that is happening around the world. But it's not just musicians and creative people that can make this happen in their lives. Everybody has this capacity. What we don't always have is the time. But we've been blessed with a certain amount of time and needing ways to fill it. So I encourage you to learn some new skills and stretch yourself to develop in ways you may not have thought that you're capable of. Perhaps it's musically, perhaps it's otherwise. But one of the best things we can do is to come out of this with a sense that we are better and closer to ourselves and closer to our souls. I hope this has been a helpful lesson, and I really look forward to hearing what you do with it. As always, thanks for playing, and I'll see you soon.